and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. So hello there, and welcome to this month's channeling of the Elohim Light family, where we will be talking about the real importance and meaning of spiritual and physical nourishment that we're all in needing to assess at this time, because we're undergoing massive shifts in energy. Plus, as you know, we're being bombarded all the time with chemtrails, and this is a massive, project. Imagine how many planes have to go through every quadrant, of our planet and all the regions, and it's very big in its scope of influence. So it's important for us to focus on the rebuilding of our new bodies and this structure internally and of course externally in connection with Mother Earth. Therefore, I wanted to bring in the messages for the special requirements at this time from the family of Elohim. So let us begin. So, dear beloveds, we're gathered here again today to discuss a very important topic that concerns all of you as individuals and as a group of humanity. Is going through massive shifts and a lot of turmoil in terms of planetary position in the greater celestial alignments, in terms of receiving cosmic energies, but as well as the change and the refinement of mineral structure or composition of earthly template as she also changes density. So every human being on this planet at this time is changing density in a way, is changing format in a way. So as we have already explained through the channel, a lot of energy is currently being channeled in this process, which means that all the nutrients that are a part of your earthly receptivity and all that you require as humans to, in a way, build healthy bodies and to be sustained within these healthy bodies, which are your vehicles for your light of the soul. Therefore, these nutrients are also, in a way, changing requirements, or you are changing your own specific requirements to receive these nutrients. The first thing we wish to address is the importance of how you receive anything within your bodies, not just what you receive. What is very important to understand is that as you have many different levels of your energy and the impact on these different levels of energy through these cosmic gateways and energies precipitating through them, is that from your auric field to your densest form, all these bodies, all these fine structures, some very fine and subtle and some more dense, need their specific requirements and specific nourishment that you can supply to these different aspects. For example, to create a proper attunement through your auric field, many of you, especially those of you who are very tuned into angelic energies, you know the so-called aura sprays that function on certain floral and crystal essences, as well as in composition through the elemental structure of different plants that is being channeled into these essences, which you then, of course, spray through your aura. Then that's a very fine attunement, especially for those of you who are constantly channeling energies, those of you who are light workers and bearers of light in so many different forms. It is very important to attune your bodies from the auric level and build a structure all the way to your physical template at this time. And as you know, the connection that's built through all these levels is done through water, because water is a fluid of life, a direct representation of life force, and a vital component of the veins of this planet you call Earth. And therefore, not just how much water you drink, but how you drink water, in terms of what degrees does it have when you take it in your body. And many masters of yogic tradition and cultures have already been teaching and sharing about this, that you must ingest water that has similar degrees to your own internal degrees in the body. The other important thing is to put anything in your body, especially water and all that is in composition of water, such as let's say fruits and other nutritions that are based on water, is how you then bring that or channel that water into your physical body, so that it's done through sacredness and blessings and the principle of unity. Because when you bring the unified sacred water as that holy baptism in your own physical body, you will actually create a cohesive structure for all the other levels you're bringing into your body to kind of intertwine and interconnect through this cohesiveness that water holds in your bodies and in the body of our planet Earth. That is very important for each human to start understand and embrace within their own nature and how they live their life. Sometimes, especially, you know, you walk around this beautiful nature, this beautiful planet, you come across a natural stream of water, let's say a mountain river stream or a waterfall, and you want to drink that water. And that water is already purified through the Davic kingdom and the elemental structure of the refinement of earth. And yet, what you will recognize at this time, because so much of earth and what is natural has also been poisoned with many toxic ingredients, is that it is your requirement at this time to specifically bless, especially water of this planet, before you ingest it, or before you just, let's say, you just have a connection with that body of water at large. Water is a very important topic at this time, and you might all wonder why you had such a long winter throughout this year in many continental regions of this planet. Is because there was an immense requirement for clear, pure water to come back into this planet, because there was lots of degradation taking place on that level of lacking or losing the purity of water itself through the activities that are being propelled through many of the agendas that are, let's say, in opposition to planetary ascension and ascension of your human bodies of the elemental nature. So when your bodies can attune to the elemental structure of the pure earth, then there is a discordant factor here, which kind of creates an interjection of the energy that it's no longer held at the higher vibratory level enough to sustain you in this new embodied form, which is becoming so important because you're receiving such high energies at this time. Now that means that blessing water, even though you say, well, that water is from nature and it's already pure, and let us say that there's an intense working of light, especially behind the scenes throughout the Davic kingdom, and those beings, those humans who work in cooperation with those kingdoms and the elementals to hold the structure of proper resonance to serve your fine-tunement to life and the key codes you require in your physical embodiment. This means that there was a lot of pollution occurring, and a lot of that toxicity comes from what you might call the chemtrails, which don't just stay up in the sky, but literally translate into every mineral aspect of this planet Earth. Therefore, this year, as you know, so much water has engulfed this entire planet for a reason, because this water was, in a way, a divine blessing from different levels of light that have been co-creating to bring an infusion of new water, pure water, sacred water, that is going to merge with the water that has already been, in a way, holding strong toxicity levels that have, in a way, reached their climax point. And even if you go somewhere in nature and say, well, I'm drinking pure water because it comes from this mountain, or, you know, this river flowing through this mountain, or in the sacred forest, and it's, let's say, natural spring, even that had to be, in a way, intercepted. And there was many divine interventions that were put in place so that this could be done. We want to address this issue first. We want to talk about this topic because it is so important. Because without water being pure, you as humans can, in a way, you cannot shift to a higher vibratory state that so many of you are now trying to move into as a part of this natural organic ascension process. The second thing we wish to address is your own contribution to this process through keeping your body vessel as pure as you can through the food you ingest and, let's say, the organic structure that specifically kind of responds to or connects to, because it is so important for your process. And because we've shared so much of these nutrients when to co-create an element of your new bodies and to be sustained at the higher vibrational level, in a way what you perceived worked for you at a certain level might now hold necessity to bring a greater amount of these nutrients, but each body, as you know, is unique, so it will have a specific requirement. So we wish to say that truly listen to the guidance you receive, especially when you are in nature, because in nature you connect to the elemental structure of planet Earth and the elementals that also support your own body, because your body, just as it is cosmic, it is also of Earth. And to keep your body in an organic state, you will need lots of movement, as always. And as you know, a lot of people fear the sunlight. They fear the light of the liquid sun, the solar light, and the infusion of the solar logos precipitating through it. And yet we say there is nothing truly to fear about this, because there is such a liquid infusion, and it remedies and it balances out your natural field in the body, and it helps you to maintain the levels of the electric and magnetic charge through which you actually feel the sense of well-being, because if that's no longer held in balance, you will no longer feel that well-being. A lot of the people during this intense transition will require specific essences, because they are gifts of Mother Nature and the plant kingdom, to not just to provide nourishment for the human in general, but a lot of these, let's say, plants, especially those we've discovered more recently, have specific effects on the body, as in the metaphysical components and multidimensional field of the body, just as they do on the physical level of the body. Therefore, we suggest that you, as an advancing spiritual being who has composition of this stellar infusion and the human embodiment, you start working with what sort of calls you out. And a lot of humans at this point will be called to work with the plant kingdom in the sense of their own remedies and the factors that these remedies can help to increase in your bodies. Because this is becoming such an important attunement at this time, we wish to say that not all would, as we know, serve everyone, because of you having different body types. So it is important to start embracing the feminine principle of life through sharing about these things, especially listen to those who have actually created their platform and to help humanity in their ascension in a more physical level, because a lot of the people who've been deeply immersed in the spiritual traditions or the spiritual perspectives, they often forget their bodies, or even neglect their own physical bodies, and they say these things no longer matter once you're highly vibrational or higher vibratory being. And that is not really true, because you have to shift your body and your body structure and template just as well. So during this stage, there was many plants that agreed to participate or to partake in this beautiful experiment of light to take you to the next level. So make your inquiry and make the intention to discover those who hold knowledge already, because they have been in preparation for this specific time, to bring back the knowledge of the ancients, because as there are shifts now, they were shifts before just as well. And everything that was somehow seated in the human history or origin of great ancestry somehow serves the level of this now timeline through coming back for a certain reason. So let us say that, yes, if you, let's say, only existed in the level of physical frequency, you know, in terms of just being frequency, not just being physical beings, you might say, okay, we only need to create the state of balance through energy and energy work. And let's say for some people that's still their truth, and therefore that works for them. But people or beings who are truly devoted to creating a space of sacred ascension and embodied wisdom in their bodily temples, these beings will start to seek out these natural methods and the assistance of the plant and mineral kingdom in that process. There is a wide array, and there is something for everyone, because, you know, you all live in different portions of the world or different climate regions. So there's something growing there locally for everyone. And usually the best result, because your body is, in a way, it's birthed locally, it will have usually the best results with locally, let's say, established plant life. And there will also be new discoveries in the near future. But one more important thing is to not just deplete Mother Nature. We invite those who are cultivators, which means those who have their own garden, to start cultivating these plants and these aspects of the mineral and plant life themselves, so that we don't just take from Mother Nature, but that you understand, as humans, you co-create with nature, and you help to harvest, you help to cultivate that growth on your own just as well, because that way you're truly understanding the sacred alchemical work of what it means to be a human that doesn't just take from nature. Because if that's done in small proportions, you know, you can still keep the balance. The nature is a beautiful life force of complete intelligence who knows how to replenish itself. But let's say now that when humans take in non-balanced way, they take too much. There needs to be this knowing birthed within humanity to start cultivating just as much as they're actually taking, you know, for certain purposes. So there's different levels of attuning to these remedies. One would be for medicinal purposes when you have certain ailments. One would be when you have certain energetic blockages, or some people even call them emotional blockages, and you work with certain essences of different plants or flowers. Then there's also just the physical nutrients level of understanding, and why now this in your body, this need is increasing. It is only in this point of transition that this need is increasing. Before entering a new vibrational level, you kind of need to invest more in this process. If you imagine, if you knew what takes place in the process of a butterfly in its cocoon, in its larva, when the butterfly creates an alchemy from changing one set of elements into completely other set of elements and growing wings and everything out of that, you understand that before that phase there's an intense eating process of that larva. Before it begins, you know, you see that little caterpillar which just eats and eats until it almost eats an amount hugely over its own weight. So to undergo this sacred transformational process, you can learn much from observing butterflies and their cycles, and why they and how they invest so much of these nutrients to grow a completely new body. And in a way, metaphorically, this is what is happening to many of you at this time. This is basically the overview of what we wanted to share for this time. You also have to become aware that when you work with in this world, when you operate in this world as you are now, you're operating both with high frequencies and very low frequencies. And because of that, in a grounded sense, in a grounded way, you start to understand that you do need to apply both the earthly and, you know, looking up above perspective, and unify them somehow in your immense knowledge that you as family of humanity already hold in your overall akash of the, you know, just the group of human family of light. And you can at any time tune into these different aspects, or connect with people who are already tuning into these aspects as a part of their divine mission. So there's so much more to share, but we will leave you with that because we don't want to share too much at once before something is deeply approach through an integrated perspective and really grounded perspective of what makes you new humans. And we really see your bodies as holding so much potential, and now you are at this threshold into how you will self-realize into this potential in a physical way through spiritual nourishment that truly feeds you from your own inner spirit connection, and then allowing that to charge through all of your body, to fuel all of your body, so that you start to get these messages and signs of what you actually require at this time. What nutrients, what other type of nourishment. There is also nourishment that directly comes from alchemical life force transfusion, which is in a way a direct alignment with your own ecstatic nature of what we call the cosmic orgasm. And this has or holds the highest power of liquid light when it enters a human vehicle. And yet that is already another topic which we will address at a different time. But for now, we wish you so much joy as you go deeper into your bodies, not just spiritually and meditatively, which is of course a foundation for your work in the grounded, embodied sense of the soul, but also to really tune into and talk to yourselves and make decrees of being shown what you require at each time, and to understand that you are a part of the whole, just as you are an individual, and therefore you have individual needs and quantities and qualities. So just tune into what resonates in each time, and allow when something comes to you to not just negate it and say, I don't need that, I'm too spiritual to, you know, just have these requirements, I don't need it. Just really tune into the grounded sense and start working with your body, because the body knows what it needs, but the human needs to learn how to listen and pay attention to that. And as always, we wish you so many beautiful blessings with love, wisdom, and power of the great divine creation that is the human being and the life of humanity in the sacred heart of one. Enjoy.